House Republicans are moving toward a vote to formalize the Biden impeachment inquiry. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, and House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith expected to make the case today for impeaching Biden in a closed-door meeting later this morning. Kim Strassel wrote an op-ed this morning in the Journal about Hunter Biden's missing services, and we've been talking about that as well because we have the email. It follows a newly released 2018 email, which is from a bank money laundering executive. It shows a bank examiner raising concerns about Hunter Biden's account. Strassel writes this: the investigator queried why anyone was getting paid millions in fees when it does not appear there were services rendered. Joining me right now is the New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor Miranda Devine. Miranda, great to see you. You know, the Democrats keep saying there's no evidence, and yet every day we get more of these blockbuster things. This email that I have in front of me is incredible with the bank examiner basically saying that, you know, China is trying to dominate the children of politicians, and you've got all of this erratic money in all of these accounts that are controlled by Hunter Biden. He says Hunter Biden is a big risk. We might not want to do business with him. Your reaction?
It is incredible, isn't it? This is, you know, an impartial bank executive who's charged with protecting the bank from money laundering and other nefarious activities. And there you see that he's flagged 4 or 5 serious concerns with this $5 million payment from China, much of which went into Hunter Biden's bank account. And as you said, this is in the backdrop of the Chinese Communist Party trying to compromise American politicians via bribing their family members. And as well, I mean, the initial flags were just because of the character of Hunter Biden. This bank investigator had been watching Hunter Biden because you know, he had money problems. There were reports from his divorce that he was spending enormously on drugs and alcohol and prostitution. And then you have the fact that he was a politically exposed person as the son of the vice president, the fact the payments were erratic, and that they were being paid for no discernible service. Supposedly they were a loan, a business loan, but there were no documents and no terms for that supposed loan. That's a story that James Comer has been telling across a whole lot of different bank documents. These
he really
are
has.
loans. They don't appear to be, and that's a classic excuse the IRS always looks for when people are trying to hide the real source of money.
Yeah, and the email from this bank regulator says, since the initial funding of $5 million from Northern International Capital Holdings of Hong Kong on August 2017 as a business loan, it was noted that there was no loan agreement documents submitted. So, again, they try to say that all of this stuff is a loan, but there were no documents submitted for a loan, and there's actually no services rendered. You recently wrote a column in the New York Post. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention, Maria, that the timing is very important too, because the money flowed to Hunter's bank accounts just a few days after he issued that shakedown WhatsApp message to one of the Chinese partners saying he was sitting with his father, and his father wanted to know why they hadn't kept their part of the bargain, as in paid the money. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, then my father and everyone he knows is going to make your life a misery. So a few days later, the money comes.
Wow, what a shakedown. Meanwhile, you write in the Post recently, Hunter Biden appearing before Congress about his family's influence peddling business is just another ruse. Why do you think I mean, if he were to go into a closed door session, as opposed to what he's trying to get done, and that's open door, where he's only got 5 minutes from Republicans and Democrats, you still think it's a ruse if it's closed door?
Well, it's a ruse that he's trying to get out of doing the closed door, basically deposition, where he will be shown these documents, where he will have extended questioning, it can go hours from skilled lawyers. And we've all seen those public hearings in Congress. They end up being grandstanding sessions for various members to get viral moments for their own self-serving purposes. Right. And also it just allows the witnesses to filibuster. Christopher Wray's a past master at it. Look, I mean, I think Hunter Biden is going to use every means necessary not to answer questions, and he'll plead the Fifth Amendment because, of course, there are these ongoing investigations. Supposedly David Weiss is very, very slowly organising, and he's already has 3 gun charges against him.
I mean, it's just incredible the games that are being played around serious corruption in plain sight. I mean, the Democrats still will not admit that the Russia collusion story was made up by Hillary Clinton's campaign. They will still not admit that the impeachment of Donald Trump over a phone call was actually quite legitimate, now that we know all that we know about Hunter Biden, thanks to reporters like you who wrote the bestseller, The Laptop from Hell. But look what happened yesterday, Miranda. New York Congressman Dan Goldman, to me, I think he's the new Adam Schiff. He's claiming that there is evidence that Hunter Biden's laptop was manipulated by Rudy Giuliani or Russia. Goldman made these comments during a House Judiciary hearing, basically making, he's trying to grill journalist Michael Schellenberger. He makes a complete joke out of this hearing with this nonsense. Watch this.
You've talked about the Hunter Biden laptop and how the FBI knew it existed. You are aware, of course, that the laptop, so to speak, that was published in the New York Post was actually a hard drive that the New York Post admitted here was not authenticated as real. It was not the laptop the FBI had. You're aware of it. To know it was the same contents. You have no idea. You know hard drives can be manipulated. The problem is that hard drives can be manipulated by Rudy Giuliani or Russia.
Well, what's the evidence that that happened?
Well, there is actual evidence of it, but the point is it's not
no evidence.
Miranda, it's unbelievable to me that he could do this in this hearing. Your thoughts? And by the way, you're from the New York Post, so did the New York Post admit all of this?
Look, it's a farcical conspiracy theory that Dan Goldman's still trying to peddle.
I know.
He completely beclowned himself, and the fact that the audience was laughing and Michael Schellenberger just eviscerated him and made him look like a fool, it shows you how thin their arguments are. It shows you how behind the 8 ball they are when it comes to this inquiry. They just do not understand the complete weight of evidence that James Comer and Jim Jordan and Jason Smith, 3 committees, have brought forward to the American people. And it's convincing the American people, although the Republicans are fighting not just Hunter Biden's very expensive, very high-powered legal team, David Brock's dark money opposition research group, the White House, the entire Democratic Party, and most of the media. Despite all that, the American people, the majority of them, believe that Joe Biden was involved in his family's crooked influence peddling scheme and did do something wrong. Right. And that's why I think it's important, this meeting this morning with Republicans, they really need to show unity and get behind this impeachment inquiry, because the White House is demanding a formal vote before they will comply with any subpoenas. And they are, sneering at the impeachment. They're calling it an impeachment inquiry in sneer quotes. So the Republicans, those holdouts, need to get their act together and stop being ridiculous, because they're beclowning themselves just like Dan Goldman did yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they're just going to get away with it again, Miranda. I mean, look, if they don't have the vote to move forward, do they have the votes to move forward?
Well, look, there are certain, Don Bacon, for instance, who's always a holdout. He's shown indications that he will vote for it. He said he will. There are people like Ken Buck, who, you know, Abby Lowell, who is Hunter Biden's high-priced lawyer, wrote a letter the other day in which he, you know, was trying to get out of having Hunter testify behind closed doors. And in that, he listed about 5 or 6 Republicans who have on the record said that they don't think that an impeachment should go ahead. Those Republicans should just hold
Don
their heads
Bacon
in shame.
seems to be changing
they are
his
ridiculous.
tune. He initially was against it.
Yes.
But has raised a lot of concerns about what he's seeing. Miranda, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you.